Hi folks, I'm Shawn.
And I'm Corinne.
And welcome back to another Travels of Red Rover. And this week again, we're back with episode 3 of the RV Chats.
Yes, we've been spending time with Craig and Shelley Neeson for a couple weeks in the South Dakota area. We did some really interesting chats, and this week was all about inspiration. And we have been alternating the content of these chats between our channel, Travels of Red Rover, and Craig Neeson Photography. And we'll have a link to his channel below.
So sit down, relax, grab your popcorn, and enjoy the chat.
So as far as you guys, is there anybody in particular that you're inspired by, their work? Go ahead, Shawn.
Well, I guess, so we have to start kind of earlier. Both Corinne and I grew up in Canada, in Toronto, or around Toronto. And one of the things that we're exposed to very early on in, like, literally grade school is a group of artists called the Group of Seven, which, if you have never seen them, please go look them up. They're phenomenally great artists that spent a lot of their time in Northern Ontario painting landscapes. Everything from very abstract to very realistic, and I love that. You know, when we was just a little guy, they took us to the thing, and I was it just completely mesmerized me and inspired me in terms of trying to paint and draw and that sort of thing. And then when I was in grade 5 or 6, I broke my leg. And I couldn't go outside. And I had the teacher that got stuck looking after me happened to be an art teacher. And she figured if I was going to have to sit there, we weren't going to do nothing. So she started to teach me to draw. And, you know, when I started to get kind of a hang of it a little bit, it just sort of gripped me and caught me. And it's been something I've been interested in since I was, you know, extremely young. If we fast forward to sort of the modern YouTube era, you know, I'm pretty much inspired by a lot of the YouTubers that are out there right now. I mean, I'd probably say Adam Gibbs and Thomas Heaton are probably the two that inspire me the most, and probably the two I learn the most from on a day-to-day basis. But, you know, there are a lot of small channels out there that also inspire me. I like Andrew Hamilton's channel I think he's from Wales. And, you know, he doesn't have a huge channel, but, man, he's artistically, he's phenomenally good, and he's always trying new things, and, you know, unlike me, he's very, very calm and, you know, soothing, and that really inspires me. So what about you, dear?
I hate to be cliche, but I would probably say that the first photographer that really inspired me was Ansel Adams, and particularly the black and white work, you know, that was of the national parks. I wish I could enjoy the national parks the way he did, without the crowds, and to really think about compositions and not feel like I'm worried where my tripod is, and who I'm interfering with, and whether or not someone's going to be walking in front of my camera. I think the other thing that inspired me a lot is looking at National Geographic magazines and just being awestruck by the vivid colors they would get in the travel photography and the unique faces that they would show. And I'm not a portrait photographer, but I would just really enjoy seeing someone with a traditional garb on from a remote location, and that would, you know, make me sit down and really pay attention to what was in that photograph.
So let me talk about Ansel Adams. He's not inspiring to me, no, that's not fair. He is inspiring for what he accomplished and what he did, but I'm completely colorblind. And I compensate for that colorblindness to but and in a way that's kind of unusual, and that is that I see black and white as color. And I didn't actually know Ansel Adams was shooting black and white photographs until I got older, and someone said, "Oh, those are all beautiful black and white photographs." And I'm like, "Really? Oh, I thought they were sort of washed out color." So, for a long time I didn't understand until I got to sort of look at them differently. And I, like you, a lot of the early portrait artists that shot, and especially some of the journalists, more journalistic photographers, just their ability to capture that emotion in the shot. I mean, I think as a landscape, we're always trying to catch something that gets somebody's emotion. I mean, that's what we're trying to do, with all the things that we're working at. But that really just sometimes you look at those, you go, wow, that's just absolutely wow.
Well, I think that a compelling photograph tells a story.
Yeah,
right?
I agree with you.
A photograph is worth 1,000 words. So a really compelling photograph, be it landscape, portrait, has to have that story. And the way we as landscape photographers do it, we really use the meaning of photography, painting with light.
Yeah.
Right? So when we don't have the light and we don't have the conditions, the story falls apart. The photograph falls apart. It becomes less compelling. And
I think it lacks the emotional draw, whereas it's more documentary. This is how this piece of land looked on this day, and it would look like this most of the time, but it's documentation as opposed to I'm really inspired by that.
Correct. That's totally the point. And I'm having a problem. Those hills are awesome, even in this light.
Well, we may have to break and actually go shoot.
Yeah, we might have to take another break. We'll come back tomorrow. It doesn't that hill set over there, and by the time I think I got set up, it'd be gone.
Yeah.
Well, here's a question for you that I never thought about. As a landscape photographer, do you think that you are a better landscape photographer by an appreciation of nature and the environment that you're in? I mean, do you think you can be a good landscape photographer and not have that appreciation?
Well, I would say no. I mean, for me, the love of the environment came before the photography.
Yeah.
The photography is an expression of my love for the outdoors. So, could you be technically a good landscape photographer? If you're a good photographer, you ought to be able to shoot anything. I'm not sure I actually believe that, but let's just say that should generally be true. So that someone that's a very good portrait artist or a very good travel photographer, ought to be able to shoot a good landscape. But I think that somehow there's this magic that happens where we invest some of the passion that we have for that landscape into that photograph. And if you don't have it, then you can't put it in there. Now, could it be technically good? Yes.
You're going through the motions.
Yeah, it's the process, right? And if you do the process well, you get a good photograph.
Yeah. But I think there's another side to that, is that if you understand the environment too much, then you start to say, well, that's an invasive species.
True.
And that detracts from the natural environment, where some of the viewers may not know that that's not native to the area.
That's true, yeah.
That comes from our scientific training, when you're trained as an ecologist or biologist or geologist, and you're looking at something going, that's not supposed to be there. It may be beautiful in terms of, yes, it's there, and yes, it's part of that environment. But sometimes the science can get a bit in the way.
We were doing a shoot in Gold Butte National Monument in Nevada, and it goes down this river, and we got to the riverside, and I was doing some B-roll, and I realized that all the shore was covered by tamarisk trees, which are a big problem in that area. And it's like, oh, these are kind of attractive in the sense that they get really nice purple foliage, flowers on them. But on the other hand, they're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's like in
I've
Kauai.
experienced that too. Yeah.
The gorgeous
The
trees.
Albizia trees.
They're not
Trees,
supposed to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
They fit in. They look fantastic.
Yeah.
But they're not supposed to be there.
It is why Kauai is Jurassic Park, though.
Yeah.
Well, we sure hope you enjoyed that video.
We hope you'll consider jumping over to Craig Neeson Photography YouTube channel to see the next part of this series.
So that'll be episode 4, but it'll be part 2 of this short series.
On the inspiration.
And we hope you are inspired and get out and do a lot of photography. It's actually, I think, the goal of both Craig's and our channel to really inspire you to get out and enjoy your photography.
Our home bases are quite different, so you'll see a lot of different content, and so you may find something close to home for you.
So take care. We really appreciate you showing up for our chats, and bye for now.
Bye for now.